everyone, and welcome to the Winning Post podcast. This is an exclusive show brought to you by Architect Tips. Me as your host, Stephen Dowler. Before I make a start on this weekend's preview, I just want to point you in the direction of our website where we have a brand new discount offer available where you can get yourself 15% off all subscriptions and services by using discount code TIPS15 at checkout. This is available for a limited time only, so be sure to act fast if you want to be part of our services. I think this is a really good chance to join us, especially while we're on a bit of a good streak at the moment. We've had plenty of nice winners this week at 14-1, 6-1, an 11-2 winning nap a couple of days ago, and another winning nap yesterday. So it's been a good week at the time of recording. Hopefully we can continue that into the weekend. So we'll start with the preview now, and the first race that we're going to look at is the 110 at Ayr, the Scotty Brand Handicap Chase. The first horse that I am interested in here at quite a big price, I think at 12-1, is Melistic. I know he's an 11-year-old, so age isn't exactly on his side, but he's a course specialist, and this is his time of year. He's run at this meeting 3 times previously, finished second twice and won on the other occasion. He was second in a Grade 2 event here in 2022 before finishing a next second in this race a year later when shouldering top weight off a mark of 1:45. He then went on to go one place better in this race in 2023 off a mark of 1:47, where he beat Alexia Denuts and subsequent Ascot winner Coast Guard Station. I know he hasn't won since, but he should improve from his comeback run after a 3-month break at Doncaster last month, and he's fallen to a mark of 1:37 at present. So I could see him running well at a price, especially with conditions and obviously the horse and distance in his favour. Quite interested in Home Public in the same race. I think he's available at 13-2. He comes into the race in decent form with back-to-back runner-up efforts. And he warmed up for this race with spin over hurdles at Bangor last time out. He's only a pound higher than when winning comfortably at Doncaster last March, where he had the reopposing Tommy's Oscar and Melistic in behind. The blinkers are returned, and he could have a part to play in the outcome of this event, and he's also a connections only runner on the card, so it'll be interesting to see how Home Public gets on. But my main pick in the 110 would be Melistic at a general 12-1. Then we move on to the 143, where we have Masaccio as the favourite at the time of recording. He ran well to finish third in the plate at the Cheltenham Festival last time out, and he's building up quite a nice profile over fences. However, I'm just not convinced that he wants 3 miles, and it's also worth remembering how disappointing he was at this meeting 12 months ago, when tailed off in a lesser race than this over hurdles off a mark of 1:29. Instead, I quite like the look of Loughglyn here for the Winning Mullins team. I actually really fancied this horse for the Scottish Grand National when he held a previous entry for that race. So it's interesting to see Connections have made the decision to run him in this race instead, and I think that can be rewarded. He's a Grade 2 winner over hurdles over this trip, and although most of his form has come on a slower surface, I think he actually will improve for the better ground. I thought he ran really well behind his stablemate High Class Hero last time out, and Sean O'Keefe keeps the ride, which is always a positive sign as well. He looks nicely treated off a mark of 1:43. For his handicap debut, and I think he's a decent bet for Winning Mullins, who is obviously chasing the Trainers' Championship after his 1-2-3 in the English Grand National last weekend. So moving on to the 215 at Ayr, and I quite like the look of Cabral de Matana here for the Paul Nicholls team at 7-2. I think this horse has been deliberately safe for this race after running with credit to finish second at Windsor last time out. He won his first 3 starts over hurdles, and he also finished the next second to Feasted Proud in a competitive race at Ascot on his handicap debut. And then the form of that race has worked out well with the likes of Favour and Fortune, Go Dante, Still Ally, who have all gone on to frank the form by running well or winning since. Now, I thought Cabral de Matan lost little defeat when running up to Secret Squirrel when last seen, considering he was conceding so much weight to the winner. And the handicapper has been very generous by leaving him on an unchanged mark. The Paul Nicholls team are in good form. He's open to plenty more improvement, and I think he's got a very good chance of winning this race. And it's worth remembering that Paul Nicholls has won this race 3 times in the past, including 2 years ago with Abode as well. So he has a good inkling of what capabilities are needed to win this race. So I quite like the look of Cabral de Matan here at 7-2. The 255 at Ayr is a no-bet race for me. I'm struggling to find any sort of angle into that race, so I'm happy to leave that race alone. And then we move on to the big race on the card at 3:35, the Scottish Grand National. And I've got a short list of 4 for this race. And the first one I like the look of is the Nip Hand, who has made giant strides over fences, where he was again doing his best work at the finish last time out, was second in the Grim Fourth at Doncaster. And the handicappers only put him up a couple of pounds for that, right, for that running defeat, and I thought that was very generous. He's also got no weight on his back. Nigel Twiston-Davies has won this race 3 times in the past, and I think this 7-year-old fits the mould as a potential winner. And I think he will appreciate the step up in distance and represents fair value at roughly 12-1 with the extra places available. The second horse that I like the look of is Magnus Sam, who finished an eye-catching 5th in this race 2 years ago for a mark of 125, and he's £3 lower this time around. If you actually go back and watch that race, it looks as though he's going to win it pretty comfortably, where he cruised into the lead on the bridle at the third last fence, and he looked like he really enjoyed himself throughout that race. And then he was back to his best when last seen in the Edinburgh National over 4 miles, where he won by 10 lengths. And in that race, he had last year's run-up of this race, so Request in behind, back in third as well. So that's a nice angle into this race. The headgear that was worn that day is retained, which has obviously had a positive impact the last day. And I think it will come as no surprise to see him run well at 25-1 with the extra places available for him as well. The third one that I like the look of is Captain Cody. I know he didn't get very far in the National Hunt Chase last time out. This is a Grade 2 winning hurdler, and he looks well handicapped off the mark of 140. Harry Cobden is a fascinating jockey booking as well, and I think this 7-year-old could appreciate this increase in distance, especially if he can put in a clear round, as I do believe this is Willie Mullins' best chance of lifting this year's renewal. The fourth and final horse that I like for the Scottish Grand National is Brandt, right at the foot of the weights. He's improved leaps and bounds since stepping up and tripping. He's full of running at the finish after coming from well off the pace to score at Leopardstown last month over 3 miles 4 furlongs. He's rung at the weights, but Sean Bowen is a very positive jockey booking, and I think this 7-year-old has plenty more to offer over a marathon distance such as this race. I could see him running well, quite a big price as well. I think he's available at 25-1 with the extra places available. All I like for the Scottish Grand National at the time of recording are the Nip Hand, 12-1, Magnus Sam 25-1, Captain Cody at 12-1, and Brandt at 25-1, all each way with the extra prices available. So then we move on over to Newbury's card, and we start with the 125, and I'm really keen on Sunway for this. I think he's available at 7-4. He brings the best form to the table. Now, I am mindful of the fact that he underperformed on his return last season, but his narrow second in the Irish Derby on similar ground is a serious piece of form. He also ran well to finish thereabouts in a couple of other Group 1s, including the St Ledger, where he was promoted to 3rd place after finishing 4th. He can be forgiven for his run in the Arc when last seen, as their wide draw completely destroyed his chances of making an impact in that race. However, I do think that this dropping class on his return in this race will seem to prove very difficult to beat. So Sunway at 7-4 in the opener at 125 at Newbury. Then on to the next race on the card, the 2 o'clock. Now, I'm happy to shy away from the top of the market here and give a chance to Bright Times Ahead. I thought she looked a bit special when cruising to success on her debut at Newmarket in November. Now, I know that win came on heavy ground and the form is yet to be tested, but the way she went through the gears and pulled clear of the field was very taking, and she holds entries in the 1,000 Guineas, the Oaks and the Irish Oaks as well. So based on those lofty entries, she's clearly well thought of by Ralph Beckett, and I think she could run very well. I think it's 10-1 at the time of recording, so it'll be interesting to see how she gets on, but I do think she represents pretty good value in this race. Then on to the next race on the card, the 2:35, and I'm firmly in the camp of Rashabar here. I like the way he progressed through the ranks last season. The form of his Group 2 Coventry Stakes win has worked out well. The second, Electrolyte, has won a Group 3 since, and the fourth, Cooler Hoof, Luke, went on to win the Group 2 Jim Crack at York as well, and so that form looks really strong. He proved that win to be no fluke by finishing second to Whistle Jacket in the Group 1 pre-morning at Deauville, before backing that performance up to finish a second in the Jean-Luc Lagardier in Paris. He sets a tall order for the rest of aim at in this race, and in my opinion, I think he should be clear favourite, so I think he's got a very strong chance at a general 10-3 at the time of recording. However, I am interested in the potential prospect of Rogue Allegiance for the David Almora team, having bolted up on his debut at Newcastle. David actually won this race last year, so he'll have an inkling as what to know about how to win this race. And his son of Kodiak holds an entry in the 2,000 Guineas, so he might be worth a say of a bet, in addition to backing Rashabar as the win bet in the 235. The final race that we're going to look at is the 12 minutes past 3, the Spring Cup, and my eye is drawn to Hollydor's Mount Cogitate. Now, this horse is best when caught fresh, and I thought he ran very well in his return last season, finished second to Night Raider. The winner was last seen winning a listed race and is undoubtedly a group horse in the making. So I think Charlie Hills' contender looks very well handicapped off a mark of 87, and he's drawn very nicely in stall 13 as well, which should allow Hollydor have plenty of options as where to put Cogitate in the race. So if you can enjoy the rub of the green, I think Cogitate could run well in the final race at Newbury that we have looked at. And then we move on now to the best bet and the next best. And my best bet will be Cabral du Matin in the 215 at Ayr General 7-2. And my next best will be somewhere in the 125 at Newbury at 7-4. That's all from us this week. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found the video informative and enjoyable. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hopefully I've managed to point you in the direction of a few winners for Saturday's racing, and we'll be back next weekend to preview Easter weekend's racing, including the Irish Grand National meeting at Fairyhouse. All the best for the weekend ahead, and please gamble responsibly.